This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. Christian, thank you. Phylath World Sculptor versus Keranos God of Storms, Tynma the Weaver and Reyhan Last of the Abzan, and Whisper Blood Liturgist. That is an alright opening hand. I obviously wish we had some early mana there, but yeah, we can limp our way up to Farhaven Elf. We can get the Gruul Turf out of the way as well. Although I'd rather use that as consistent landfall. Just some tap lands on turn 1. We draw in 2 defense grid. We'll get our Valakut tap land out of the way here. And the first spell of the game is a Fluctuator from Tynma and Reyhan, which makes their cycle abilities cost 2 less. And then nothing from the Izzet player either, so let's get into a land. And then we can get down our defense grid, which should be a huge headache for the Izzet player. Now the black player playing their first spell in Grim Haruspex. Turns out that this was a good opening hand to keep if no one's getting off to too fast a start. And then an Abzan Rock in Indantha Crystal. The Izzet player just tapping out surprisingly, and yet another land for us. So I think it just has to be Farhaven Elf here. And there is Whisper, the first commander of the game to come down. And they swing in their Grim Haruspex towards us, which I don't mind taking. We'll leave Farhaven Elf to block something that's a lot bigger and scarier. Inspiring Statuary. Non-artifact spells you control have Improvise. And the Izzet player casting something this time, Karplusan Minotaur. And we get into Ashaya. We've actually got enough mana to cast the Ashaya as well, so I say we go for that. Do a little bit of setting up here. Ashaya's upside is massive, but sometimes you don't want to take the turn off to cast her, so I think we'll just get it down here. Vampiric Tutor from the mono black player. I think they were tapped out during our turn anyway, so they couldn't have gone for that. Even if they did have a black mana held up thanks to our defense grid. That's probably what they went for. Cabal Coffers now have 5 mana, and it's Liliana's Contract. An alternative win condition: if they control 4 or more demons at the beginning of their upkeep, 4 or more demons with different names that is, then they win the game. But when it enters, they'll draw 4 and lose 4, so I'm not sure if they're going for the alternative win condition, or if it's just some card draw for them. Swinging in at the Abzan player for 3 damage this time. And then at the end of the turn, discarding a Razaketh, so looks as though they do have a few demons in there. Might be that they're going for a Liliana's Contract win. Golden Guardian from the Abzan player. And then Karplusan Minotaur. They have to flip a coin during the upkeep. And it deals 1 damage to any target here because they won, so they're going to deal the damage to the Farhaven Elf. And now, the Izzet player casting a Mirror Gallery. You don't see that one very often. The Legend rule does not apply. Been seeing a surplus of clone decks recently, so I'm wondering if that's got something to do with it. Someone told me in one of the comment sections of the videos that there were some big YouTubers that built a clone deck recently. Alright, Shamanic Revelation won't do as much good just yet. So let's go Windswept Heath and get into the Phylath. Can't make landfall with it yet, unfortunately, but it does make the Ashaya really big. That's up to an 8/8, so we'll swing straight down the middle with that. And a Boran Overlord for the black player, so another demon. And they should be able to get down their Razaketh here with their creature, their commander creature. Yeah, sacrificing a couple of Harpies to get down Razaketh. There might be all manner of things they can do here because they've got plenty of sack fodder. Sacrificing the Abhorrent Overlord, so I'm guessing they can reanimate that here. That will allow them a tutor from the Razaketh, and they draw a card from the Grim Haruspex. And there's reanimate, so that might have been what they tutored for. And that's even more Harpies. So yeah, the black player's looking pretty good there. They've got a lot of mana, a lot of creatures, a means of tutoring. And a means of drawing cards, so pretty much everything any deck could ever want, really. Now Parallel Lives from Tynma and Reyhan. The Minotaur wins the flip again. So deciding to get rid of a Harpy, and the black player sacrifices it in response for another tutor. And in comes Keranos, God of Storms. Alright, Roiling Regrowth. I think we just go for Boundless Realms at this point, don't we? We can tap down our commander to do that, so yeah, let's go Boundless Realms. And we'll get some massive plants and a hell of a lot of ramp here. We'll just make it all mountains because the Valakut is in play and we'll trigger a lot of Valakuts here. So I think we just have to get rid of this demon player because they're looking really good. So we'll put 5 of these triggers onto them, and that will be 15. Let's get rid of the Minotaur just in case they put Death Touch on it or something. And we'll get rid of the Vital Splicer as well because it regenerates the golems. Then we'll spread the threats around with regards to our plants. So with regards to the plants, we end up with 3 8/9s and a couple of 4/5s. And that gets rid of the mono black player. So let's make landfall again. And we'll make another plant even bigger. And we'll do what I mentioned in the early game, and we will use the Gruul Turf for consistent landfall. I will bounce the Gruul Turf to its own ability. So now I think we can get rid of the Izzet player. We'll go for lethal on the Izzet player, and we'll swing something in at the Abzan player as well. Yep, knocking them down to 0 and knocking the Abzan player down to 29. So we're looking pretty good here. I don't think even a board wipe will stop us. Could always slow us down though. A sensor splicer, so another golem producer. Getting plenty of blockers in the way with it at least. But there is an Ashnod's Altar for us. Alright, so we can set up a Purphoros win here. Let's cast the Purphoros. We'll swing in a bunch of stuff because we want to recast our Phylath here anyway, so I'm not worried about losing it. And they just make a bunch of chump blocks because they're looking for a board wipe anyway, so they might as well save themselves some damage. And then in response to blocks, activating the Golden Guardian. So it's going to fight the white splicer, and when it dies this turn it's going to come back in transformed. But I don't think that's going to be of any relevance to them, unfortunately. Yeah, knocking them down to 23. We'll go for the Ashnod's Altar. And we will sacrifice these plants to make a surplus of mana so that we've got plenty to cast the Phylath with. This isn't quite infinite because we do have a finite amount of coloured mana, but we'd be able to cast our Phylath a few times here, I imagine. And when it comes down, it obviously comes in with a bunch of plants, which triggers Purphoros. That'll shock our opponent per plant that comes in. And we have a lot of plants coming thanks to the Boundless Realms, so I think that should be it from our opponent. Yeah, that's a shame our opponent didn't get to cast the Eerie Ultimatum. Yeah, I think we just got lucky with a few draws there, because we didn't have the best opening hand, but that's the type of thing this deck can do, and if we get into the draws then, well, lucky us I suppose. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.